I need to also full screen you guys. There we go. There we go. Everyone can see all my embarrassing Discord servers that I'm part of. Cool. Welcome back, everyone. We're now live. There's some people watching the stream. That might just be you guys, though. So, hello, anyone watching. This is the 4th session of Horror of the Glen. So that's exciting. Would anyone like to give us a brief rundown of where we've got to in the story so far? Maybe start like right at the beginning, bring us right up. Don't need to blow for blow, obviously, but the details as they
are. There's still been a murder, and we still don't know who's done it.
So yes, there was a murder, and you were asked to go up to Scotland to investigate, because you were sponsored, you were employed, hired by, or your agency was hired by the Society for Paranormal Investigation or whatever, or something like that, because people
psychic research,
parapsychical research, something like that. It'll be higher up in my notes. Because people are blaming.
I think it's psychical or something.
Psychical research, yeah, I think so. People are blaming ghosties and ghoulies.
Well, the authorities are blaming
some bloke,
a patsy, rather than a ghosty or ghoulie.
They are.
And we investigated a spooky manor. Ooh, spooky.
So I believe
spooky manor with a fabled treasure.
A big beefy tosser of capers. And the suspect was the tiny Jamie McLeod. There can only be one.
Ooh, yes, and we found lots of things in the manor. We found a spooky statue, we found a spooky skeleton, and a spooky boarded up room with a different spooky skeleton.
So much spooky.
Many spooky skeletons. Where
we also found
tree cutting.
You took a tree cutting,
and the spooky thing that I think we're all glossing over is that we found lots of notes. I think were they in code? I can't remember, or were they just difficult to read?
The book we were looking through.
Yes. So we found lots of notes about the was it Alex McMahon, the last living heir of the McMahon family who owned the manor, had gone off travelling, and when he'd come back, he apparently was keeping some kind of large violent beasts.
Which was feeding corpses, and then
which was feeding corpses.
That's correct.
And which, according to his notes, never slept.
And something about planting the trees round so they'd be safe, but that could just be screening them from the village.
Okay. And so...
Also mention of an enemy called Lennox. All of this will have been 100 or so years ago. So we're kind of in the wake of all of that.
I believe we'd returned to Inverness.
And we're looking through his diary.
And I heard a completely explicable and not at all alarming howl in the night.
And we found a completely explicable, probably ciphered document rather than something in some kind of weird occult language.
It was like, "Oh, Jimmy, is that you? Yes, I'm myself."
So you hadn't returned to Inverness, unless I'm very mistaken. You had returned to the village.
Sorry.
I thought we had gone back to Inverness because that's where most of my lab equipment was, and I think we all wanted to do things in Inverness.
Shall we retcon and say that we stayed the night?
Yeah,
Just-
I thought it was Inverness, but
we can always
totally
go back
okay
to
with that.
Inverness in the morning. And
Yeah, we hadn't done anything specific there.
it seems to flow better for the tension.
Yes, if you don't mind, let's say let's compromise. Let's say you stayed in the village, and Chris, you had brought enough of your lab equipment with you to do those tests.
Yeah, cool.
Cool. Because you wouldn't have heard that spooky howling if you'd gone back to Inverness. So I, at the time, thought that you'd gone back to the village, but
Ignore that dice roll. That was just me remembering how it worked.
okay,
Yeah, it was a good roll.
It was a good roll.
Don't waste it.
You can actually mean the enter on it.
Cool. What, as you see them, are your current leads?
I wanted to go and cross-examine the prisoner some more. Some things he neglected to mention in the house. He said that he hadn't had difficulty getting to any part of the house, but there were bits that were boarded up. Plus, skeletons, creepy statues. You think it'd be worth a mention?
I'm still working on the theory that there's a small population of escaped dangerous apes, probably chimpanzees. They will eat your face. And starting to formulate a plan that I will obviously take Miss Ridley's lead.
I'm happy to defer to someone who has ideas. This isn't my rushing back to Inverness thing, but when we're next there, it might be worth it.
Yeah, I think the main reason I wanted to be in Inverness is for the library to try and identify the trees, because I took a tree cutting. I think that's what I wanted to do with the tree cutting. I might have just wanted a keepsake, but I'm pretty sure that's what I wanted to do. I think. Like I took one, but now I'm not quite sure what to do with it, and I think it was to go to the library. So if we're gonna,
You also have, when you were speaking to Miss McPherson, who runs the inn, she mentioned that her grandfather was the minister of the village at the time of the fall of the McMorns, and his diary is now in Inverness Library.
Yes. And also, we had that weird bit of paper that fell out of the book we took from the house.
You also have the strange bit of paper.
The one that definitely wasn't anything underhand that you didn't make us roll sanity on.
Definitely did. And
I think I missed some kind of cipher.
So we left it with you all going to sleep. Ooh, you okay, Nick?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I just realised I do need my laptop for my character sheet, so I'm just reconfiguring myself.
Fair enough. No worries. Yeah, I think that's everything that you had. Yeah. And we ended it with you having heard the unearthly howling through the village during the night and waking up in the morning. Unless I'm very much mistaken.
I slept
like a babe.
I think I was the only one that heard the howl.
I have a feeling.
Yes, I think you were. Cool. You all wake up in the morning. What would you like to do?
I'll be down early, cleaning people's boots and arranging breakfast.
Yes, nice leisurely breakfast.
What a solid man Mr. Rummage is.
I will also...
head down to breakfast.
I'll inquire of the landlady as to whether there happens to be a shop in the town where one could purchase some hunting supplies for grouse or similar.
We're
going out loaded for monkey.
Would there be? Let's say. Yeah, let's say there is one in the village. Why not? Is that Miss McPherson that you're asking?
Yeah.
The landlady. Yeah, she'll point you down the road. That's pretty much all there is in this village. There's a small grocery store, the inn, and this hunting supplies shop. There'll be a
Hunting and
butcher.
farming and pretty much everything supplies.
Yeah, what would you call it? Like a householdy kind of thing that also
Like a hardware,
sells
like an old-fashioned hardware.
Thank you.
Heavily armed haberdashery.
Hardware.
It's random mouse.
Exactly.
Someone gets priority on the sofa.
Anymore. My turn. So I will not go gallivanting off when people are about to wake up. I'll wait for them to be ready before I go out shopping.
Yeah, I guess once they get down to breakfast and if everyone else is there,
I think you got cut off.
I took my finger off the button. Sorry. Chaps and lady, what do we say we take a trip back to Inverness for a riveting library session?
Yes, and some questions for young Mr. MacLeod, I think, as well.
Yes, indeed.
In which case, when would we like to leave? Mr. Rummage, have you got some business to attend to first?
I believe my business can be attended to perfectly adequately in the metropolis. Bigger shops.
Fantastic. Shall we away back to Inverness then?
Very well. I will arrange the car.
Most happy to.
Whilst you
Excellent.
are all eating breakfast, and Mr. Rummage, you overhear this from some people walking past while you're preparing the car as well. You overhear that a few of Farmer McIntyre's sheep vanished last night.
I will inquire as to where does Farmer McIntyre's farmstead lie? Or does he really allow them to graze the local hills hither and yon?
Do you still have the map in the chat if you scroll back up far enough?
That seems like the sort of mishap that maybe might not have happened were it not for the fact that his shepherd has been incarcerated. So
if
I suppose there's too much to it.
Let me reshare this map in the chat. So you'll see that McIntyre's farm is just north. Sorry, Rich, were you saying something?
I was just pointing out where.
Yeah, I was trying to work out where the map was.
I've just reposted it in the chat, so it's right at the bottom. You don't have to scroll the way up. So the McIntyre farm is just north of the manor house.
So they could conceivably have ranged close to the perimeter from there.
Yeah. Whoever, whatever they are.
I do recall when I was in the service with your father, there was a sergeant in our platoon who told me of encounters and adventures he'd had in the jungles of Africa. And he did mention the habits of some of the larger apes there that would predate not simply upon fruit and nuts, but upon some of the smaller apes as well, in a manner allowing for scale not dissimilar to what we have witnessed here.
I don't believe there was a colony of apes wandering around a Scottish village. Someone would have noticed by now.
I would assume that they were inclined to wander. If they were associating themselves with a particular habitat of unusual trees, they may consider that their territory.
What would they eat?
There'll be plenty of.
But for last night, I would hazard sheep was on the menu.
But But if they've been living here for 100 years hence, then surely there must be other things that have gone missing. People... oh, excuse me. Maybe we should...
I mean, there's a lot
suggesting-
of hills. There's a lot of wildlife. I'm sure nobody would question if they occasionally came across a few remains of a few grouse or such like.
Bit concerning if they're moving towards the village.
Or the sheep could have moved towards them. If they were a nocturnal species, that could also explain the comment about them not sleeping. If the gentleman who had brought them here as a curiosity was unfamiliar with such habits.
It seemed like they were quite fussy creatures, from judging by the notes. Apparently, it takes some doing to get them to sleep as they would in their home of Tegarl. I'll have to look that up when we get back to the library.
Not a country I'm familiar with, I'm afraid.
No.
Yeah.
Maybe we're missing out. Visit scenic Tegarl.
Oh, another thing to look into when we get back to town.
Indeed.
I definitely want to speak to the prisoner. There's definitely some inconsistencies. Whether he's intentionally lying or something else is going on, who knows?
I have to say, he didn't strike me as a master of subterfuge.
No, no, a dangerous murderer, but there are a lot of inconsistencies in what he said and what we found. A lot of things he's left out.
It really adds up.
No strange.
I would also venture that those to whom you would immediately get the impression of there being a dangerous murderer are those least likely to succeed in murdering.
Still, it's a matter of simple maths. Large, beefy caber tosser and that man. He was most unlikely.
Indeed.
Not impossible, of course. People under stress do act in strangest ways, but...
If you will excuse me, I will load up the luggage and I will wait you at the vehicle. And I'll away and attend to that.
Thank you, Mr. Rummage.
Much obliged, Rummage.
So we're driving to Inverness. Is that the plan? Sorry.
Yep,
After
unless someone else has something to do.
After the usual duel over the driver's seat.
You drive back to Inverness. Are you parking at the hotel where you stayed that first night?
Yes.
Cool.
We've still got our things there.
Yeah, you can park up. If you want to go to your rooms, which you still have reserved, and freshen up, you can. If you want to head off to other parts of the city, you may.
Yeah, I pretty much head straight to the library. Investigating a bit of tree while it's still fresh, you know.
Yeah, for sure. You are heading to the library to look up bits of the tree. What is everyone else doing?
I am going to excuse myself to attend to some errands. I will find a better stocked gunsmiths in Inverness.
You will.
Yeah. It won't be a particularly exciting visit. I will pick up a couple of reasonably priced shotguns and a decent supply of buckshot.
They say they don't sell elephant guns in Inverness. How provincial.
Because I'm afraid I don't rate our scientist as a marksman, so I'm only getting one for me and the folklorist. I'm assuming that the folklorist will know his way around a gun.
I'm insulted.
You would have got one, haven't you?
I've got a pistol, not a
You're
shotgun.
fine with that. Yes, you've got a pistol because you weigh about as much as a sneeze. If you fired a shotgun, the pellets would hover in the air and you'd go flying backwards.
There is no stuff. Hang on, yeah, there is.
So
I think in an event of
I'm
an
no great Shakespeare
emergency,
guy,
I'm
but-
going to. Yeah, I'm gonna give the shotgun to the obviously more capable Miss Ridley.
I'm the same size as you, according to this stat sheet. I'll have you know. Look,
I'm chunky.
but you're just like half my height and twice my width.
Chunky butt.
You're the square, but
So we've got one person going to the library. Rummage is going to do some errands, some shopping. What's everyone else doing?
I think I've got two things on my list. Firstly, well, in no particular order, looking up this Tagaul. Or talking to MacLeod, which I
to go together.
I think you were also keen to do, Miss Ridley.
Well, I know the questions we must ask. If you wish to ask them, then I do not claim domain. I'll go from
I'd say two heads are better than one, shall we?
Righto. Will you be writing the library on your own?
Yes, no, sounds sensible to me. I'm pretty much planning to be in the library all day, so if you can simply find me there once yourselves are done with MacLeod.
Yes, let's try and we'll join you there.
Great.
Yeah, I just have to do this. Check this out. I've had an idea.
Do that with my lava
Hooray!
lamp. I crouch down here. I'll do the same with my lava lamp.
You just have very slow ideas.
Right. Mr. Thatcher, we'll do you first then. You are going to the library.
We.
What are you looking up? You're looking up about the tree.
Well, depending how long things take. Yeah. First things first. I want to identify this bit of wood.
Okay.
What wood is it, Adam? Tell me.
Give me a library use roll.
Would that be research or? Oh no, yeah, libraries. Okay, yeah, sweet. Oh yeah, damn. That's a big old fail.
A big old fail. Oh no. You don't manage to find anything that really describes it. All you can find is that, like, from a lot of the properties of it, you think it's Eastern European, potentially like Mid-Eastern European. That would make sense. Like, that kind of climate would make sense for the properties that it has. But that's what you can find.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, that sounds about right. But would you class Mid-Eastern European as like a Romania kind of area? Like, obviously not to try and narrow you down to a country, but I'm trying to picture
sure.
the area of Middle Eastern Europe.
Yeah, so when I say mid, I mean in like a north-southy kind of thing. So probably north of Romania, maybe like northern Ukraine, southern Belarusi kind of.
Cool, yeah, I'm with you. Yeah, just for, just so I can picture the general area I'm looking at. Yeah, sweet.
Eastern Poland, very eastern Slovakia, Moldova, maybe, that kind of thing.
And then there's like another 2 or 3 things I want to find, but I don't know how long each of these sort of library roles goes on for.
So broadly speaking, a library use role represents about 4 hours of research.
So yeah, that's probably there's probably another 2 things I want to roll for. I want to see if I can find any if I can identify that black sand I got from the floor of the manor. I know what it does, so that might make it easy for the library use. But then I also want to find the diary of the hotel proprietress. What's her name again?
Miss McPherson's grandfather, Archie McPhee.
So yeah, I want to find his diary, and I want to try and identify the black sand. It might be that you go back to the other guys now, and then I do the other 2 rolls later, or depending on how you want to.
The diary is a thing that you know is there, and so you can just ask for it. So that doesn't require a roll. So what does take time is flicking through it, but I will give you the highlights now. Sorry, were you going to say something?
I was going to say, I think naturally I'd investigate my black sand first, because I'm the only one who knows about that. So that's the sort of next beeline I would go for.
All right, we'll go on to everyone else and come back to you to do the other stuff then. Fine. Going clockwise on my screen. I don't know where you all are on your own, but next is Mr. Stanley Chevix Norton and Miss Ridley going to the police station.
As we're walking down, I will discuss with you just before we see the prisoner. So, I made some notes about what struck me as particularly pertinent. So, there's things that he didn't mention that you'd feel would be worth mentioning, like the coffins, the statue, the skeletons. Why did he spend the night when he could have just walked back to the village? Where did he sleep? Why didn't he take anything? If he was that desperate for money, there would have been things to take. And what about the barred door? He said there wasn't any impeded any part of the manor he couldn't get to break down that door. Does that sound fair?
I think you've more or less covered it, really.
Anything else I'm missing? And obviously, in the light of that, there might be something living there if he saw any clues towards that. But should have mentioned it. Who knows where we are anymore?
Yes, and I might also want to just give him a little bit of a push in light of our discussion with the Reverend McAllen. Given the severity of the warning that he'd been given, being a God-fearing man as he's professed to be, you have to wonder why he did go to this haunt of the devil.
And what made him change his mind? And I know he said he stayed there, but as I said, he didn't take anything. And the footprints that we found seem to turn back. That might have been something else, someone else altogether, I suppose. You know, at the statue.
And that could as well have been McCullough's MacLeod.
Possible. I wonder what reason he'd have to go inside the house.
I suppose he must have been searching for the treasure of the McMorns, just like any. Well, I say just like anyone else, but apparently nobody else has dared go up there all this time. But
have you found out anything about next of kin or the murdered victim's family? We haven't had it mentioned, have we, Sal?
Say that again, sorry?
We haven't heard anything about the murder victims, like next of kin. We haven't sort of heard he's got a grieving widow or family or what.
He has a widow who has been mentioned to you.
Oh, excellent. Right. In which case, I will say, I wonder if his widow might be able to enlighten us at all. Obviously, it'll be a bit of a sensitive matter. I don't wish to cause distress, but I do also wish to find out, solve the murder.
Yes. From what we heard, maybe she's not too terribly sad that he's gone.
Maybe she will be willing to speak
like
to
an
us.
Ideal husband.
Disconnecting.
we'll head off to the
Right.
constabulary again.
Yep.
The best way of dealing with this is, should we just confront him and say that what he said made no sense? Or should we just try and be reasonable and see what happens?
I'd say let's start off gentle. He didn't seem like a hard nut to crack.
Very strange.
So I'd be wary of going in all guns blazing and spooking him.
Seemed to be the most obvious guilty murderers, certainly.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, let's go on in.
You can walk in to the police station, which is part of the city hall. City hall is a very American term for it. Or what do I mean?
Town hall.
Town hall. Thank you. Why does city hall sound much more American than town hall when it's the same thing? Anyway, it is a town hall, and at the front is a sergeant on the desk. What would you like to do?
Is it Sergeant Lorimer again, or is it a different one?
So Sergeant Lorimer, you met when he was outside the cells, not at the desk. It's a different sergeant here.
Okay. I say good morning. We've been investigating the McCall case commissioned by the NIPR. We're hoping to ask a few more questions of young Mr. McLeod, who I believe you still have in custody.
He will say, "Oh yes, the detective mentioned that you might be back. You're welcome to go through, but McLeod is not having a good day."
How so?
He has been more unresponsive than normal. When he has been anything other than when he has been reactive to his surroundings, it has been to scream uncontrollably before slipping back into unresponsiveness.
Oh dear. Has he been seen by a doctor?
We've had someone look at him when he came in. Everyone gets a medical exam when they come in. The doctor couldn't find nothing physically wrong with him.
How long has he been like this?
He has good days and bad days. The doctor put it down to the effects of his demonic possession.
The doctor did. Well then, welcome to Inverness, Miss Ridley.
Yeah, a bit of a side-eye. To shove an Norton.
Norton is like, I'm a folklorist, and I think that's bullshit.
Oh, I just realised, having just done a booming laugh, that I haven't checked my mic levels against everyone else. No, it looks like I'm fine. Okay, cool.
Something's making a very high-pitched noise. Oh no, stop now.
Hopefully that's not me.
It is.
There is actually people chatting in the chat. Hey, I've been flicking through the PDF and stuff, so hello. Flip to the flop. Hello. Sorry. Did someone say something?
We were just noticing there was a high-pitched noise coming through your mic, but it seems to have
it was a weird
calmed down a
tinnitus
little
coming
now.
later, but it's stopped now.
Cool. Yeah. He says you can.
I suppose
go
we might as well pop our heads in.
Yeah, you're free to go through if you like. If you do, the same sergeant, whatever his name was, you just said it a second ago, is there again on duty. He stands up as you walk in, and he shakes your hands, both of you.
How's he looking?
He looks bored, and a little maybe sleep deprived. He looks sleep deprived maybe a strong word, but tired.
Hungover.
Morning. Nice to see you again.
He says, and you, what can I do for you?
Oh, we had a few...
Sorry, after you, Miss Ridley.
Oh, sorry. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to talk over you. We just had a few follow-up questions for Mr. McLeod. We've been to the scene of the crime, as it were, and had a few questions we wanted to go into further detail. That'd be all right. I hear he's not very well.
He says, you're welcome to try, but damned if I can get anything out of him.
Dear.
As soon as he said that, he realizes that he said the word "damned" in the presence of someone who might have been possessed by the devil, and then crosses himself.
Miss Ridley did not bat an eyelid. Problem. He's been unwell. Was he like that when he came in? Or is it some more recent developments?
He wasn't like it when he came in, but it's not a recent development. He's had certainly periods of being like this. He doesn't really sleep, even when he's unresponsive, all through the night. So he's obviously suffering.
So we were lucky to catch him in the state that we did.
Yes.
Oh yes, that was definitely one of his better days.
Seen and lucid. Well, here now, we may as well try.
Yes. So is he just in the cell there?
Yeah, so he's just in the cell, and he's curled up in the corner. He's sat with his back against the wall in the corner, kind of hugging his knees.
How's he being looked after? Does he have like blankets, sorts of water, food?
There's a bed and a chamber pot. There's no evidence of food in there, but it's what time? It's mid-morning, so yeah.
Tolerable for the period and for the context,
yeah, very standard. Very standard.
Mr. McLeod? Jamie? Jamie, can you hear us?
You hear a little murmur under his breath, but his eyes are staring like straight through you.
I'm going to stand back a bit so we're not crowding him. Within hearing distance, easily.
Bored.
Do you need anything to eat or to drink? Are they treating you all right?
His murmuring gets a little bit louder, and if you lean forward, you can just about hear that he is saying, "Don't go in there. Don't go in there. It can't be. It's moving. It's moving. Don't let it get me. Don't let it get me. Don't go in there." Just over and over and over and over and over again.
Okay, I will try and calm him, like patting him gently, assuming, well, tentatively first in case he like freaks out at touch or anything, and just try and approach him, going, "It's fine. You're safe."
Are you going into the cell? I hadn't realised that you had. You can ask the sergeant for the key to unlock the cell if you like, and he will.
Yeah, if that's going to be a problem. But
yeah, sure.
It's all right. It's all right. You're perfectly safe here. You've got the British Constabulary looking after you. Possibly not the most diplomatic thing. Look, no one can get in here. You're not able to get out, and they're not able to get in. Who is it that's upsetting you? Is someone threatening you?
Don't go in there. It's moving. It's moving. Don't let it get me. Don't let it get me. He's getting a little more agitated.
It's all right. Nothing will get you. We'll keep you safe. Famous last words. Where is it we're not meant to go? I want to stay safe, but you have to tell us where we're not allowed to go.
How close are you to him? Have you got your hand on him?
Yeah, I think so. Not like right in his face, but
Sure,
my arm out,
sure.
resting on his arm.
He says, "Don't go in there. Don't go in there. It's moving. It's moving."
I'd like to stay safe, but can you tell us where it is we're not meant to go? If there's something dangerous, we have to warn people. We can't if you don't tell us what's wrong.
His eyes lock on you, and he screams in your face, "Don't let it get me! Don't let it get me! Don't let it get me!" And he reaches out to grab you by the shoulders, and is screaming at you, "Don't let it get me!" At that point, the sergeant comes in and pushes him back and tears you away, and almost pushes you out of the cell, and locks the door.
Don't be rough. I went in there. It was my choice.
He is screaming and holding his head and screaming over and over and over. "Don't let it get me! Don't let it get me!"
I back over to Mr. Chevenix Norton. Seems like we're just making it worse at the moment.
He seems to just be caught in a loop, doesn't he?
Loud, not so loud that that the prisoner will hear. But well, don't go in there. I can make an educated guess about that. But it's moving.
It's moving.
Could be anything and everything.
I don't suppose there's any great. I suppose there's any great benefit in distressing him any further.
Maybe we can find out. Check again tomorrow and see how he's feeling, and maybe he'll be more communicative then. Certainly, I don't want him to be upset at the mere sight of me. Maybe we can be more help in the library.
Hang on, before we go, I do just want to try one thing. Is he still just screaming?
Yes.
So yeah, I'm just going to go up towards the cell, and is he kind of looking around, or is he just kind of locked on something?
Yeah, just like 1,000-yard stare.
Okay. So when he pauses for breath, I'm just going to try and kind of lock my eyes on him to just try and get his attention, and then just clap really loudly. Just see if that kind of.
He doesn't react at all. At all. He's screaming. He stands up and starts pacing.
Okay, I'm just in a very calming sort of voice. I'm just gonna just start reciting: "The Lord is my shepherd; I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still water." Now, just calmly just recite through Psalm 23, and just see if that kind of starts to have an effect on him.
Because his last contact with the church went so well. I mean, he obviously got
Meanwhile, I will speak quietly to the desk sergeant and not the desk sergeant, the person watching him. Say, has he been like this before? Or is this particularly bad?
He says he gets like this when the rare times that he does sleep, he awakes in a fit from nightmares, and then he'll be like this for hours.
Do you know when he's likely to be a bit calmer?
He might calm down very soon. He could be like this again for hours. I haven't noticed a pattern.
Thank you. I feel we're probably doing more harm than good here. I turn around. How is he reacting to the prayer?
How long do you keep that up for?
Just maybe twice round. So it's only 6 verses long, so I'll just go twice round and just see if it makes any effect.
Not really, no.
Okay. Well, I suppose it was worth a try.
Yes, good, kind thought, but it seems like he's a bit beyond caring.
Yes.
Do you think we should go?
There's a point once I suppose I spent too much time in the Valley of the Shadow of Death.
Give that impression. Do you want to go to the library, or do you have anything else in mind?
No, I'm quite keen to get to the library. That Tagarl is kind of itching back of my head.
Can't say it rings any bells to me. But two heads are better than one, and three heads are better than two.
Absolutely.
Try and make some kind of sense of that little scrap of paper.
It doesn't look like a language. Cipher of some kind.
Maybe it's a cipher of some sort.
Ciphers are very hard to break when you don't have anything to go on.
Yes, and the apostrophes do seem a little bit...
Just be another letter.
Well, I suppose, but if that's the case, you'd probably see more punctuation marks in there.
You don't know if they haven't changed the punctuation marks into something else. If
Maybe.
It's a cipher, it could mean nothing to anyone and everyone unless you know the key. I realise it's not very optimistic, but...
No, I suppose so.
I'm no great linguist myself.
I'll maybe give it a little bit of a go, but shan't chase my tail for too long.
I don't know if Chris is struggling or he's trying to reset something while he's taking the opportunity while he's not talking. So we'll Are you guys heading off to the library?
I think so.
Okay, cool.
I have a bit more of a shopping list if you want to use that while we're waiting for Chris to re-establish.
Yeah, let's go to you. What are you shopping for?
Well, in addition to the aforementioned shotguns and a reasonable quantity of shot, I also am trying to anticipate potential needs. So I will purchase.
Got all the wine already.
Some decent storm lanterns, preferably blackout type ones. Whatever you would call them. A large quantity of strong fishing twine, and about a pound of kidneys and a pound of liver.
Lovely.
Where we're at.
Sounds good. Okay. And
I'm going to leave the liver soaking in some nerve tonic.
What a waste.
Yeah.
Okay.
Trying to catch drunk crabs.
It's like when you make a vodka watermelon. It's like that, but with liver.
That is hideous. It's genuinely vile.
Yeah.
Are you going to get Danny the champion of the world on this, whatever it is?
As I say, I'm trying to anticipate a lot of possible outcomes.
Cool.
Freeze it and drop it in your drinks.
Oh, as a vegetarian, if it wasn't vegetarian, that would gross me out.
Not okay.
What's wrong?
Cool. That's fine. You can procure those items. It's not a problem. Everyone else meets back up at the library. What would you like to do? What would you like to look at first?
Well, should we pass back over to Bill for the time being, and loop back to us?
Yeah, head start on us.
Yeah, I guess by the time these guys have got back,
you are incredibly quiet. Can't make you out.
Oh no.
Yeah, if you could turn yourself up a little bit. That
sounds like a tiny Chris in a box.
Tiny Chris in a box.
Is that any better? I haven't changed any of my audio settings.
That's really strange. You're
It's better
very
because we can
quiet.
hear what you're saying, but barely.
Yeah, check. I mean, yeah, I haven't changed it. I'm hesitant to turn up my audio this side in case it suddenly deafens you or that side. I don't know.
Yeah,
I
we
think
can
it's a
barely
risk
hear
we'll
you.
have to take.
You're pretty high up on my end already. If you could turn it up your end, that's fine. And if you deafen us, we'll deal with it.
Sure, yeah, it's just yeah, like at the beginning, everyone was turning me down, weren't they? So
Yeah, that's weird.
Yeah. All right, sweet. I'll go up. That's fine.
Cheers. Did you want to look up black sand first?
Yeah, give me the black sand, baby.
Cool. Give me a library use roll.
No, I'm good at the library. I'm a researcher. I should just get it.
Delta Green, as a system, does have slightly better rules for this. In that it's if you have a blank check over a certain number, then you just get it.
Yeah, I mean this is fine. I passed this one by like 56.
Okay, cool, sweet. Can you then roll me an occult check?
Shoots.
Or if anyone else is there and doing research with you, they can as well.
I guess, I mean, there's probably like a central area where everyone gets books out and stuff. Where's my bloody occult thing? 25. Oh, I missed it by 1. God,
I can just.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I could spend a lot, couldn't I? I probably should.
Do it.
How
What's the
often
worst that can
You missed the dice
happen?
roll by 1.
Yeah, I mean, if nothing else, it's for solidarity with Stanley, who's been shedding luck left, right, and center. So, yeah, let's go with that.
Cool. So you find references to stuff which could be the same thing. Certainly has the same properties. You don't find it in science books, in chemistry books. You find it in occult books. The substance that the books talk about calls it the black sand of the pharaoh. And it is a property that's used in quite a few different rituals. And it is incredibly... It doesn't talk about where you get it from, but it talks about it with a kind of reverence. This isn't just a thing that you can distill from whatever plants you find or something. It talks about it like it's a rare thing to come across. But it's a component in some of the other rituals that are mentioned in the books that you look through.
Any specific kind of ritual or just all sorts of rituals?
Kind of all sorts. It's the description of it is that it is a way of opening the door. So it's used in a lot of rituals.
Because that's not terrifying.
To start them off. It is used by burning it. And so when you burn it, you initiate things. Some rituals call for the caster to breathe in the fumes. Some merely burning it is enough.
If I wasn't a scientist, because I've already set fire to this in the hotel.
Oh,
so...
yes. Yes, you have.
Oh, God damn it.
Good job, you're a scientist.
But as a scientist, everything is... Yeah, as a scientist, everything's fine right now. It's totally A-okay.
Cool.
I have no occult above my base level, so we're good. Everything is perfectly explicable and mundane. Just weird.
Everything's fine, guys. It's all
Of
going to
course
be
it
okay.
is.
If I wasn't a scientist, learning this would probably make me cack myself. Fortunately, as a scientist, I can ascribe it to coincidence.
I guess by the point I find this out, the others have either entered, like they've got to be here by now, either by the end of it or whatever.
Oh yeah,
we weren't there.
So I share my findings. I'm like, So I couldn't find out where this bloody tree is from, but supposedly, I'm thinking somewhere around the Middle Eastern Europe, sort of, north of Romania, Latvia, any sort of that sort of area. If any of those places existed in the 1920s as well, I don't know which ones of those were around, or whether it was just Russia. Who knows?
Lots of that area would have been part of the whatever that country was at the time. Oh god, my history is horrendous.
Did they maybe still have the Tsar?
Yeah,
Maybe it was the Tsar.
I feel like,
Are we in?
given that my
the
check, I should know that, but
the Soviet Union was formed in 1922. I'm informed, so it's entirely plausible that it would be the Soviet Union by this point.
Okay, sure.
As we're keeping dates vague-ish, let's go with the Soviet Union.
So southwestern Soviet Union, really?
Potentially.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Anyway, and then this black sand that we found at the manor, I managed to run some tests on it back at the hotel, and after following research here, this appears to be used in certain occult rituals. I must admit, it does burn strangely. It produces some oddly varying colors as it burns. It's a very strange material, and I can't find how it's created. So this certainly leans into Alex McMahon having gained a further interest in the occult on his travels, perhaps?
yes, it does seem to. Eastern Europe does seem to. It doesn't disagree with what we've heard about his travels, and we've seen his interests were a bit eclectic, to say the least. Where did you find the sand?
The sand was in, I believe, their study on the first or second floor. It was on the floor amongst a lot of the wreckage and just
The one where there'd
general
been
rumble that the
whatever it was that
made,
happened with the corpse. Yeah.
Yes, indeed. So yes, it was found. It was found, outside of the only locked door in the building. So it certainly had, has seen whatever happened there.
Do you think the person that locked the door was trying to protect himself? Like scattering salt to keep away the fairies.
No, it was I mean, perhaps I think it was too far away from the locked door, because that was the gardener's abode, I believe. Was the door that was barred, and this substance appeared to be in the other room. I believe in the study. Rather too far away for the gardener to have used it. I think perhaps it was more used by whoever owned the house at the time, presumably Alex McMahon.
Things were rather strewn around and in disarray, so it could have been anywhere to start with.
Cool. Chris, if you can turn yourself up a tiny bit more, that'd be great.
Yeah, I'll go in settings. Hang on.
Cheers, thank you. After that, what are you after?
The next thing I would go for is the diary of the Mr. McPhee.
Father
Was it?
McPhee.
Alfie
yes.
McPhee? Father McPhee. Yes, I want to get that diary. Obviously, if I presume everyone else here is interested in the findings as well.
Yep. I have no specific thing I'm after, so I will just offer to provide whatever help people would like me to.
Cool.
Go Team Library!
Research is supposed to be something like.
Oh, what is going on here? Let me flick to the wrong thing. Right, I'm trying to read from the wrong thing. There we go.
He brought back a pack of chimpanzees and shit's gone wild.
Young Master Alex hath at least last returned from his travels to foreign parts. Widely indeed hath he sailed, even as far as the dark forests. Master Alex hath also brought with him many treasures of that forbidden land, and a large number of trees, which he intends to plant around the manor. He is accompanied by one Douglas, a sailor, who has been his servant for much of his travels. June 14th, 1810. I am deeply worried concerning the young MacMahon. Since of his return the young Master Alex hath refused steadfast to enter the kirk, and this despite the constant urgings of the laird and of myself. Master Gordon is a good God-fearing man as ever walked this earth, and the Lord knows he did our best to rear the boy in the knowledge of God. Yet this sojourns in foreign parts fair seem to have tainted his mind such that the very sight of the house of God fills him with a deep loathing and fear. There will be no good of this ere long. August 3rd, 1810. Alas, our laird hath passed his way to the bosom of Christ, and in the manner most queer too. Brodie, the master's manservant, did summon me from my slumber at 4 o'clock this morning, and bid me hasten to the manor, and make all speed, lest the devil catch me. Then he hasted back with himself waiting, stopping only to peer back at me puffing along behind and yell, "The master is dying," as if the words themselves could lend youth to my aging legs. Well, in truth, I ran faster than I am able, and have wheezed mightily all day therefrom, but at last 'twas all for naught, for by the time I arrived, Master Gordon was already beyond the mortal sod, and in the arms of his Maker. Of the manner of his passing there is great mystery, as he was in fine fettle the night before, as I saw myself. Yet in early morning, as Brady reports, screaming, coughing blood, and saying that the very devil were in his stomach and burning his way out. I have no reason to doubt this, as the maids were still clearing of his noxious spew when I arrived, and his poor face was contorted in the most awful fashion, so he clearly died in the most dreadful pain. None other in the house was affected, nor any other who had eaten of the laird's table that night past, and I am at a loss to explain what strange ague could have taken the man soft so sudden. August 4th, 1810. Great consternation. The young laird, for Master Alex hath now assumed the title, behaves in a manner even more strange than before. He hath forbidden a public ceremony of burial for his father, insisting that I bury the late laird at the manor direct into the vault, and refusing to attend even the simple ceremony myself, so great is his hatred of the works of God. Yet not content with this affront to the village, and presumably refusing to lead them in worship, for he hath now once set foot inside the kirk since his return from the dark forest, he has summarily ordered all of the late master's servants and workmen out of the manor forthwith, leaving only the dour-looking sailor Douglas, both of whom returned with him from his travels. Let me fix that, because I copied it wrong. Of whom returned with him from his travels. It is already common whisper in the village that Master Alex has poisoned his father, yet I cannot understand why a man should kill for an inheritance and then straightway sacrifice all respect and prestige that it brings by such callous and improper acts. Christmas Day, 1810. O Lord, what poison is it that affects our young lad's mind so? Have I not prayed day and night that on this great day you might send some miracle that might cause him to repent his past deeds and return to the bosom of your church? And yet there is still no sign of him. He hides away in the manor all day, seeing naught of his fellow men, and only infrequently sending the sour Douglas to the village or to Inverness to buy food and wine. Some of the village hath a rumour that the master is killed, most probably at the hand of the Black Devil. Yet Angus MacCallan and 5 strong men paid call to the manor today to deliver gifts and saw the laird for all that he sent 5 strong men paid call at the manor today to deliver gifts and saw the laird for all that he sent them packing with foul words and curses. Perhaps, Lord, I am old and foolish to pray for his soul, for 'tis plain he hath lost it already. May 23rd, 1811. A strange event. 2 men came all the way from Edinburgh with a carriage containing strange parcels for the laird. Staying the night at Macpherson's hostel, they drank greedily, saying they knew not what was in the packages, but that it smelt of foul, and gave them such awful fears they had driven the horses near to death to be quick rid of it. I asked after the laird, and they reported him pale and haggard, but as foul-mouthed as ever. Further references to then not written here, but you get further references of strange deliveries from Edinburgh that occur regularly for the next year or so. Then all references to Alex McMahon cease until November 15th, 1815. Angus MacAllan came to me today with a strange thought. Is not, he asked, but 2 weeks past now that this is made a large delivery... What does that even say? That doesn't make sense. By 2 weeks past now, that is made the large delivery of foul parcels from Edinburgh sufficient to tide the evil laird and his devilish crew over winter. In troth, I think there may be doings afoot at the manor, for it is hard to mind me of when I last saw lights burning there overnight, as they used. Nor can make quarrel with this. Angus saith he will take a group of men and keep watch to see if aught stirs. November 20th, 1815. 5 days now, Angus MacAllan and his men have kept watch on the manor, and naught have they seen of Master Alex and his companions. Village talk has it that they are all dead or fled the region. Yet no man is brave enough to venture beyond those trees for fear of what evil may lurk there. Were I more mindful of my duties, I should perhaps send to Inverness to seek word of Master Alex's Aunt Moira, yet since she sinfully eloped with the merchant from Aberdeen, not one word has she sent to anyone of the village, nor her brother or nephew, these 12 years long. Besides, I mind me of whate'er misfortune has fallen of the house of MacMahon be best left undisturbed, lest that same evil that possessed Master Alex be loosed upon other men. That last paragraph is ringed in pencil fairly recently. The diary only begins in 1808, and there's no other mention of the elopement of Moira MacMahon.
I would like to talk to the librarian and ask who last checked this book out.
An out-of-character question. Is Dark Forest capitalised like it's a name?
Yes.
Uh-huh.
Would it appear that it's specifically referencing the... Oh no, that's the Black Forest in Germany, isn't it?
It could be the Carpathian Forest. Match up with your geographical findings with the clippings.
I don't think I'm aware of the Carpathian Forest.
I think it runs through, I think from like Germany through to Hungary and Romania. I think it's big and is sometimes referred to culturally as like it noted for its dark and kind of ominous.
See, something that was
Very
in
promising, folklorist.
I wonder if it's worth checking in the library to confirm or deny that. Doesn't seem like it was any great secret if the minister mentioned it like it was a normal thing.
So yeah, Adam, I'd like to speak to the librarian to find out who checked this book out last, or who looked at it last, or something.
It's you only have to flick into. No, yeah, you would have to check. The librarian checks their records. And a Dr. McBride has checked it out a few times recently.
And who was who is the librarian? Is it an old dude, a young lady? What are we talking?
Let's say it is a middle-aged man.
My good man. What did this? Did I don't suppose this Doctor McBride fellow happened to mention what his interest was in the diary?
No. He visited a few months back. And requested to see a few books. He seemed to know exactly what he wanted. He came and asked for this diary specifically. But that's all I know.
So you
Now,
didn't happen
Dr.
to.
McBride.
Do you have a records of when he checked it out?
Yes. I do.
I would like to get the dates and see how they compare to the date of the murder.
I'm quite sure I shouldn't be giving that information out, miss.
Sorry, that was an out of character thing. Sorry.
Oh, okay. Yeah, sure, fine.
Sorry,
The dates that it was last checked out.
Yes, so I know what the date of the murder was in character, I suspect. So I would try and find out what the time frame was in relation, roughly.
If you were anywhere near me,
Especially
he
given
did just say that it was a couple of months ago.
Oh.
So I don't know if that adds up. With
Before.
Yeah, that sounds like it would be before.
Remember also, Dr. McBride was the other character witness standing against Cloud, and the Reverend McAllen. Now, there was a mention of a McAllen ancestor in that diary as well, wasn't there? Because the current McAllen is the Reverend.
I knew that vicar was dodgy, man. He was being so cagey.
Although the librarian, whether is Dr. McBride often in here? Is he interested in local history at all? Look disarmingly at him and try and seem as non-threatening as possible.
At the librarian.
Yeah. Sweet talk. The librarian's better.
He's not having any of it. He's says that I really couldn't say unless you want to try like a fast check or a persuade or something.
Got quite a lot of persuade.
Roll for it. If that's what
you want. More fast talk.
Oh, yeah, fast. Yes, I've got more. I want to do fast talk then. Right, rolling fast talk.
I'm also aiding her because I'm there as well. I don't know if aiding gives any bonuses or whatever.
The aiding rules are really complicated. I probably won't go into them for this.
Sure.
Sorry, what did you get, Kath?
I have a lot of fast talk, but not 88 worth of fast talk.
Do you want to burn some luck?
That would be a lot of luck.
Okay, fine. The librarian walks off, saying they have other duties they need to attend to.
Yeah, I'm not going to push it.
Just quickly before he walks away, shall I roll for my persuade if we're not doing aid stuff?
You would have to say something different. Like you have to come at it from a different tact, which you can do if you want.
My dear man, I don't suppose you know. You see, I'm a research assistant, and I'm eager to talk to another medical or scientific professional about the goings on here. So I don't suppose you would know, perhaps, of where Mr. McBride resides, or where he was from, or anywhere I might be able to find that information. If he has an interest in these events as well, I'd be very eager to talk to him.
Roll persuade.
I guess I was hoping it would be more of a charm than a persuade.
Yeah, if you're doing a charm, are you charming him? Like, are you buttering him up? Are you going to slip him a little bribe? What are you doing to charm him?
I guess I was trying to approach it from the angle of a fellow scholar. Like, he's a librarian, he likes books and details and things, and I'm also
Okay.
a man of the hunting of truths and things.
Okay. Sure. Roll charm.
Boom, baby! I got a 4. My charm is 50.
Very nice. He will tell you that he's not totally sure. The doctor wasn't from Inverness. He believes that the doctor was from the village where the person who wrote the diary lived. And if he had to guess, that was his interest.
Marvelous, thank you. That's fantastic, my good man. Thank you very much.
He leaves. What?
I guess I'm certainly I think I'm, as much as I love this place, I think I'm done here. Does anybody else have anything else they'd like to find?
I'd like to put my mind to rest about the Dark Forest. Have a quick look at some of the geography books, reference encyclopedias. You know.
I'll do the
excellent
same.
idea,
Looking for any reference to Gowral, or like looking for similar linguistic constructions, like saying what languages, for example, would contain things like an initial TG content cluster.
Sure. Both of you take library checks.
My library's useless, but
Just do control B.
I figure I can look in the obvious places like encyclopedias if I don't get a massively good check.
Shall I roll as well, Adam? I'll probably be searching as well.
Which one are you searching for, Chris?
To find out the identity of the Dark Forest. Is it the forest that Mr. Shevnik's Norton mentioned, or is it perhaps something else?
So you're looking for information about the Dark Forest?
Yes.
Cool. Roll for it. Kath, what did you get?
Not great.
Okay, cool.
61, and I don't have anything above the base. Like 20, is it? But I assume I'm not doing anything massively technical, but just like looking it up in indexes, kind of thing.
Sure. Cool. Yeah, you don't manage to find anything then. Nick, what did you manage to roll? You are muted, Nick.
You're not all.
Nope.
It's talking, but it's not showing up.
I failed by 19.
Ah, okay. Fair enough.
Time it came through.
So what happens when you roll 100?
So 100 is a critical fail, which we won't deal with for the purposes of library use rolls. But if you
Okay, sweet. I don't drop a book.
You
in my head and
accidentally
get a
swallow the card catalogue.
You opened the book and it turned out to be the librarian. There's blood everywhere.
Congratulations, you accidentally blood-eagled the librarian.
It just kept happening. I don't know. I tripped over a ladder. I stepped on a bucket.
Cool. It is very late at night now.
Yeah, sweet.
Bill, you've spent
librarian
12 hours in this library. Everyone else has spent quite a fair chunk of time. What would you like to do?
So does the critical fail mean that because it's so late that the librarian is irritated enough with us to just kick us out? And
Yeah, you
tell
probably
us
get
that...
kicked out of the library. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've spent a long time poring over musty books. I think I could do with a bit of a break. I don't know about you.
Yes, rather. I'm very grumpy because there were 2 things I was meant to find, and I didn't. There were 3 things I meant to find, and I only found 2 of them. And I'm a bloody research assistant, and I'm very grumpy.
Such is the way.
I'm going to bed.
Spot of supper first, I think. For some reason, I have an overwhelming...
Your audio's dropped again, Nick.
I can't think why.
You had an overwhelming something and you can't think that. We're assuming something filthy.
Have an overwhelming craving for offal. Maybe today is the day that I finally try haggis.
You can all retire, have some haggis or whatever neeps and tatties you desire at the hotel, and retire to bed unless there's anything anyone else wants to do before doing that. You can step and have a drink if you so desire.
Well, it occurred to me whilst they were away. Did we previously establish if we have a camera between us?
I don't think anyone has said that they do have one. Miss Ridley, it seems plausible that you would, if you want to.
It's possible. I didn't specifically plan to have one, but if we're doing investigations, then it's plausible if you want me to have had one.
It saves me doing more shopping.
To be fair, you probably wouldn't have packed it if
yes.
I might not know.
She genuinely wouldn't know if she has a camera with her, yeah.
In that case,
How portable are 1920s cameras?
Don't ask me that.
It's going to be one of those folding ones that we stick a single exposure in. My dad used to have one like that Constantine had out and loved it. It was broken, but it was just so much fun.
Yeah, so it's not quite the whole stand, hood over the head, wait for 5 minutes exposure kind of one. It is I think you probably can have like a click camera, but it still is like a boxy concertina thing.
And probably like single-use bulbs for the flash and stuff.
Potentially.
Yeah. I've looked at 1920s camera and it comes up with a lot of the concertina ones.
It's like the one my dad had.
And a few that aren't, so.
Ones that look like a cigar case when they're folded up.
Yeah.
Is that what they look like?
The lens concertina's in. You just close the flap. Yeah, one of those, definitely.
Yeah, that's right.
Also, probably mad heavy, so doubles as a mace.
Well, it wasn't that heavy. Most of it's cloth. Most of it's just a blackout cloth.
I mean, looking at this, it looks like they could
so
be
Batman
small.
then.
Oh, interesting. Right. Okay. Cool. Everyone going to sleep? Yeah.
Yep.
Cool. It is 9 o'clock, so we can probably only run for another half hour, and this might be the best place to call it, unless anyone especially wants to press on.
It might be good to do a little conflab just to discuss what we're doing now.
Yes, that is a good
start
idea.
Next.
Yeah,
like character one.
An in-character conflab over breakfast.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wake up, go down to breakfast. You all sat around breakfast having a full Scottish breakfast, or whatever you desire.
It's basically liver soaked in vodka. Or scotch, sorry, scotch.
Just so much blood sausage. More blood sausage than you've ever seen in your life.
Miss Ridley will probably quite happily tuck into anything with looking at it like it's some exciting exotic delicacy.
We should say this is a very dated idea that they just eat they just eat alcohol soaked liver. Yeah. These days it would be fried.
In batter. Yeah.
So are we going to assume we all share what we found the day before or what we did the day before?
Yeah, most people, the only thing that people were missing with me before everyone came to the library was that I didn't find anything out about a tree. So there's not much of an update there. So yeah, I told you guys all about the sand once you got to the library, and then all the other research happened we were all doing it together.
The librarian must have hated us. Not only did we stay until 11 at night, but we were also talking in the library.
Oh, so loud.
Like 10 minutes before closing time in the shops and just like linger, but worse.
So, if I may provide something of a précis of our current situation. Now, please do correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe our original objectives in coming here were first and foremost to determine whether there was some aspect to the whole affair that would be of interest to the Society of Cyclical Research. In the course of our conversations, we have also had good cause given to cast doubt upon the guilt of young Mr. MacLeod. Is that a reasonable summary?
Yes, we can't leave him to be persecuted something if he hasn't done it.
Now,
there's not a damn thing that adds up in MacLeod, and the only thing that we seem to be making any kind of headway on is some 100-year-old.
Your audio is cutting in and
I
out
don't
again,
know.
Nick.
It seems not a damn thing adds up in the MacLeod case, and the only thing that we seem to be able to make any kind of progress, the wanderings in tourism and possible pet ownership of some 100-year-old local laird with a taste for.
Which I'm sure is very interesting, but I'm not really sure where it gets us.
Well,
Well,
if I may
that is
venture,
why I'm fascinated in this Dr. McBride character, who I think Mr. Chevenix Norton picked up on as well as having given a testimony for Mr. MacLeod.
Yes, he was mentioned before.
And then having, by all appearances, been as interested in Mr. McPhee's diary as us, as we did find some paragraph circuit in pencil towards the end. And as far as we can tell, he was the last man to check the book out. So I am certainly very curious to talk to Dr. McBride.
and regarding the demise of Mr. McCall, putting aside for a moment the speculations about devilish involvement, there was certainly a physical aspect to it, which would tally with the features that have been obliquely referred to in the various documents. Therefore, I would say that if evidence of a third party, human or animal, could be obtained that would seem to correspond with the murder, this would both provide us with the necessary information to conclude as to any supernatural or abnormal involvement in the murder, and also go a long way towards exonerating young Mr. MacLeod.
Yes, seems good sense to me.
So, as once we have obtained any enlightenment we can from the good doctor, then, if I am not mistaken, then I would posit that would be the main thrust of the investigation.
Just suggest, before we leave, to pop into the police station and see if the prisoner has had a better night.
Couldn't hurt to look.
We may get nothing out of it, but we can but try.
So,
Are you suggesting we could search for some physical evidence of whatever is living there?
Indeed,
Some hair or footprints?
though I do agree that Mr. McBride may be able to shed further light on the subject.
Oh, yes. If these things are nocturnal, are you suggesting we go yumping around the house in the dark? A bit macabre. Grins impishly.
I fear
a shilling says it's bears.
When we arrived in Scotland to investigate a murder.
I am intrigued, Mr. Rummage, by your Edgar Allan Poe theory of the chimpanzees being the cause of the murder.
I would not go so far as to be certain as to the exact genus, merely that it corresponds with the facts we've received. That it is
I agree. They're certainly the damage done to the human body lines up with something bestial.
And so the fact that they appear to be an arboreal species, the fact that there seems to be a population which is capable of a degree of predation, but which has not been otherwise noticed, given the factor of the diet, that there is no indication of any of them eating anything other than flesh. No mention is made. In their native habitat, most arboreal apes would have a large degree of fruit in their diet, something which would not, I would say, be suited to the climate of Scotland. Perhaps deficiencies in the diet is what is causing them to behave in such a manner.
Very sensible.
Well,
I suppose, and
marvellous.
also
Shall
if you think
we-
about the places that McMahon went, did he go anywhere that has apes? The impression
Maybe
I got was he was mostly rambling around Central Europe.
Maybe he met an animal trader.
I fear this
I
is where
suppose.
your expertise greatly exceeds mine. I have heard rumors of apes everywhere from the deserts to the Arctic, though I fear that most of these were not from those of a zoological bay.
I suspect a lot of them had to do with you couldn't find a barber in time.
Well, shall we quickly have a quick sojourn to the police station before then moving on to Strathmore?
Well, seems like good sense to me. Also, what of Aunt Moira, who fled to Inverness? Evidently, she didn't want to reclaim her inheritance. Probably nothing.
Cool. Okay. Yeah, we'll wrap it up there then. With clear objectives for next time.
Smart.
Yeah.
Next time we go along to the police station, in the night McLeod turned into a giant monkey and ate the sergeant. Well,
Dun,
mystery solved.
It was him all along. Great. Wicked. Well, thanks for watching everyone in the stream, and you guys will chat about when we can do this next. Cool.
Sweet.
Cheers.